All right, Gustavo Neri with AV Boxing News. I'm here with my guy, Showtime Shawn Porter. Thank you for your time, champ. How's everything, brother?
Gustavo, what's going on with you?
Good, good, good. Just enjoying life. What about you? Everything good?
I'm good, man. Yeah, man. Just leaving training, and despite everything going on in the world, man, my family and my close relatives and friends are good. So that means I'm good.
Yeah. Congratulations again on the new podcast. I see you doing great stuff.
Thank you,
Great
man.
feedback.
Thank you.
Yeah. I, I,
Thank you.
I, I always told you you had a little something for commentating, and now you're doing it with the commentating. You got your own podcast. You're breaking down fights. Like I feel like me and you could connect a little bit more about, just fights overall and just outside of analyzing things, right?
Yeah, man. I love it, man. And last year when everything was happening with this pandemic, I assume I turn on I'm all sports, so I turn on ESPN and I see everybody doing things for them home offices and stuff like that. I said, shoot, let me get my equipment and get ready. You know what I mean? And then Fox kind of pulled the plug on the whole deal, and I was like, man, I got this equipment. I've been talking about doing a podcast for about a year anyway. Let me do this footwork and get it going.
Yeah.
And everything just kind of fell into place the way God always blesses me, and we've been going now. I think since September last year. So I love it, man. My boys love it. The public seems to love it so far. And I had to tell my wife one day because she wasn't too happy with some of the language she heard one day. And I said, "Love, you listen. Every episode's not for everybody. You're gonna turn it on one day,
Yep.
and you're not gonna hear something that you want to hear." I said, "But I'll try to clean up my language for you." I said, "But just moving forward, I already understand that you didn't like that episode. The episode just wasn't for you." I said, "But moving forward, I'm gonna do what I need to do so that you appreciate the things that I'm doing, but." Everybody else needs to know that every episode's not gonna be for you. I know we did the episode right after the Super Bowl, and I think like 80% of the episode was about football. Any
Yeah.
boxing fans that's tuning into the podcast that didn't really like it or whatever, I understand that Shawn Porter is more than boxing.
Right.
So with that being said, man, I'm gonna take the podcast to another level, and you're gonna start seeing some actors, comedians, some other athletes from other sports and all that kind of stuff, and it's gonna get bigger. So, but everybody seems to enjoy it, and I love it. So, like they say, man, when you love what you do, then it's all good.
We definitely get to see that side of your nickname, the Showtime. Like you're definitely bringing that Showtime to
Yeah,
the podcast into the boxing world. And I
yeah,
know, like I said, we talked about it on the side, right? Like a lot of people talking about you and Crawford. Like I know it gets annoying to you, and I understand that now more when we take a step back as media and just as a person, right? What I want people to understand is that you have done your part. Your resume is by far 147 top one or two or three in my opinions, right? So for anybody that's watching this, I want people to understand that whatever you're calling for, you earned that right. You paid your dues. Like
yeah,
nobody, if we look back right now, right? One, two, and three, you fought everybody that was offered to you. Never back down. So when you're asking about something, it's earned, not given.
yeah,
So we're
yeah,
not gonna talk. We're not gonna pass that topic. We want to pass that topic for a little bit, but I do
yeah,
want to
yeah,
ask you a little bit about your commentating, like just your feedback, right? Manny
yeah.
Pacquiao and Mikey Garcia are allegedly is supposed to be going down. What is your take on that and the interest of the fight overall?
I heard that fight might be happening. Um, man, it's I think Manny. When people say Manny's not the same, he's 40 plus now. He's not supposed to be the same. But I do think that a younger Manny would make a pretty quick night out of Mikey Garcia. I think that I don't think that 147 is the right weight class for Mikey. I think it really showed in his fight with Earl. However, if he's made some adjustments since that fight with Earl, then I could be completely wrong. And he's really smart. His team is really smart. So I do venture to expect that they have made some really good adjustments. With that being said, this is a 40 plus Manny, and I think that a very good Mikey, who we've seen in the past, we've seen Mikey electrify the arena, quite a few times. So a big scar that was left on him by Errol Spence Jr. I think that really damaged his reputation as a fighter. So it's really hard to say what he can do now at the 147-pound division. But I do think that a really good a really good Mikey could definitely take make it an interesting fight with Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, I wanted to get your perspective on a topic in terms of, because I hate to say, no, I don't want to say hate this, right? You're a seasoned, not I don't even want to say veteran because you're still young. To me, you're still young Shawn Porter, right? But once
Yeah,
upon a time, you was a young kid or young adult entering the boxing game, right? And one of the
yeah,
things that I think a lot of people are like coming flames at Ryan Garcia is that he and Manny were gonna go at it, and people were kind of attacking Ryan. But then again, I asked you this question because if you was offered that fight, where in his age, I'm pretty sure
yeah,
you would take it because I know you, Shawn Porter, you was calling out all the big boys when you was starting your career. So I
yep,
kind of from experience to experience, somebody that's very knowledgeable in the boxing game.
for sure.
If you was to defend
Yeah,
Ryan Garcia, why was that not a bad thing? If that fight
yeah.
was,
And we talked about this on the Porter Way podcast,
yeah,
which drops every Tuesday every week.
exactly.
And what I said was because the question was guys like Ryan Garcia, Boots Ennis,
Rashid Ellis,
the I'm sorry.
Rashid Ellis, I think you said too. In the was it Rashid Ellis?
No,
Oh,
Virgil
Virgil.
Ortiz. That's what it
Gotcha.
was. Yeah, guys like them. The question was, you see guys like them calling out fighters like you and Errol Spence Jr. and things like that. Do you think they're ready for that type of fight? I said, listen, when I was younger, right around their point in my career, I thought I was ready for Manny Pacquiao. I thought I was ready for Floyd. I said I was saying Floyd's name, and Thurman was saying Floyd's name. We just knew we were ready for Thurman, and that was years ago. I said, fast forward, looking back on it, I know now that I wasn't ready at that point, and I know that I'm ready now for any challenge that's put in front of me. But you just never know. I said, but when you take a look at a guy like Teofimo Lopez, who a lot of people thought wasn't ready. What was he, 13-0 when he fought Lomachenko, some right around there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody thought that he wasn't ready, and he showed that he was. So I said, hey, these guys are calling out these big guns. They're supposed to. We're fighters. We're warriors. We don't know anything less than the biggest challenge. I said, but at the same time, you never really know until that moment comes. However, for To's a prime example that he was ready for that moment. So you never really know. But going back to just using that as an example to go back to Ryan, when Ryan hears that he could get a fight with Manny Pacquiao, he's outside of his mind. Like he's like, yo, this is the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me. I'm going for it. And he did exactly what he was supposed to do as a fighter. He put it out there in the atmosphere. He told everybody that was gonna happen. And he got everybody saying, hey, yo, is this fight really happening? Now, even if it doesn't happen at the end of the day, everybody's talking about Ryan Garcia now. So he did the right thing that he was supposed to do as a entertainer, which was get everybody to look at him. And then he did everything he was supposed to do as a fighter, which was not back down from any challenge. So I was not I was just surprised to hear that it was gonna happen. And I was like, I refuse to believe it until Manny Pacquiao does anything saying I'm fighting Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
So I wasn't mad at Ryan, and then when it came out that it wasn't happening, he did the right thing. He respectfully said, hey, I thought it was happening, so I said it, and it's not. So I'm gonna just look forward to the next best thing. So I respect Ryan, man. I think he's a great kid. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and he's about more than just boxing. And you can see that, you can see that in his demeanor and the things that he says. So I have a lot of respect and admiration for him, even though he's younger than me.
Yeah, you mentioned about Teofimo Lopez in regards to like just the fight overall, but he just at this for this fight, he's going on a new network on Triller, whatnot. And what
Yeah,
made me
yeah,
what made me realize about the whole situation is that promoters and networks need to take care of fighters like yourself and all the
right.
the prime players in boxing, because any new network can just automatically win in a purse bid and have your services. So I
Yeah.
I know it's been done before, but do you feel like it puts more pressure to networks and promoters to pay fighters like yourself when it goes to purse bids? Like I know you're in a great position for mandatories, like with purse. I mean, for mandatories,
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure that puts you in a good position to get a higher payday. Wouldn't you say that, Sean?
yeah. I think that the boxing game. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm always honest. I think the boxing game is moving in the direction that it's supposed to move in. These fighters are getting smarter, and they're understanding that even though I signed on the dotted line, there are some other stands and and um and uh paragraphs in this contract that would allow me to do a little bit more than I'm being told that I can do. So some of these guys are getting smart. They're hiring lawyers to take a look at things, and they're not willing to accept the minimum anymore. And the promoters, managers, anybody that sees this, coaches, anybody that sees this needs to understand that you need to put the fighter first more than you even realize you're doing. And I think for a long time, the business has moved a certain way and fighters got used to it. And I'm going to even raise my hand and use myself in it and say, hey, myself included, but I have my dad there that understands like, yeah, no, we ain't accepting this. You know what I mean? But a lot of fighters are starting to get smarter and these managers and promoters and anybody else start respecting it and start respecting these fighters as human beings and as professional athletes. The same way you respect the NBA player or an NFL player. We're that tier. You know what I mean? Especially when you talk about a guy like Tio who says, I'm not accepting that. It goes to a purse bid and a promoter bids on it and it gets it. Outrageous money, but they did what they had to do to get that superstar on their platform.
Yeah,
So anybody out there seeing this, man, start respecting these fighters, understanding that these fighters have a life outside of boxing, and that these fighters are gonna get smarter, understanding that we're gonna do what we need to do for our lives, not just for our careers in the sport.
yeah, indeed. I remember 2 years ago we talked about it in the Barclays Center because we know that you've done a lot in 147, right? And I asked you that one question. You told me I was crazy. I said, Sean, 154 question mark. You said, nah, man, not right now. And you said I was crazy.
Yeah.
It was joking around. Is that still something you're not considering if no big fights happen to you moving forward at 47 champ? Or like what are you considering? If
Interesting you asked me that, man. I was just told, hey, if you're not getting Errol Spence Jr., if Errol's not willing to step up, if Terrence things aren't going to happen with Top Rank, you need to figure out a next move. And the next move is in my mind, obviously, is to find, who's the next best 147-pound fighter out there, whatever the case may be. But hey, you just say, hey, what about a fight at 154? So I'm gonna
yeah.
have to take a look at that.
Oh, definitely, Chan. We're gonna leave you with this one last question. I kind of want you to break down Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, and your message to them. If you're still around 147, what message you give them entering your weight class?
I know they're coming up, but a lot of guys are coming up now, man. This is the hardest division in boxing, man. Um, that's that's a hard fight for me to break down. I think Ramirez has more power, but Josh, not only is he a very good boxer, but he's got something here and something here that a lot of fighters you can't measure. So it's hard to measure everything that Ramirez has against something that you can't measure in Josh Taylor. I don't know if that makes sense, but that it's a hard fight for me to really break down. I and I think it's a pick'em fight. I think that a lot of fighters don't understand this, but you're gonna get to a point in your career where you're not gonna win every round, and you're gonna have to take it one round at a time in order to win that fight. Some
Yeah.
guys are thinking that, hey, I'm gonna get him this round. I'm gonna knock him out this round. When that doesn't happen, then what? So this is that kind of fight where I think both fighters are gonna go in there understanding that this is that one round at a time type of fight, and my goal is just to win each round and look a little bit better and get a little bit stronger each round. I think whoever can do that is gonna come out on top. I really can't pick a winner for that fight.
Interesting.